about it a little bit yesterday, but Ronald coming back into the fold. He's been a guy that you guys essentially brought in to be the rock in your defense.
Yeah.
Obviously had an up and down year, but what are you looking to see from him, especially with a tough matchup with Kai Kamara?
Yeah, and it's he's thrown in now a game against the best striker in the league, and it'll be a great battle. I think he actually matches up well against Kai Kamara. So it's just a matter of him being at game speed in a game that'll be pretty fast, and now there'll be crosses coming in, and he'll be dealing with a really good athlete. So I know he'll be up for the task, and I think we'll make sure that our team's prepared, and we know Columbus pretty well. The only thing is I do think the game will look different than it did in Columbus. And there's two different kinds of games we play there in Columbus. The first game, I think, we had our way and they had their way. And the second game, they made an adjustment and they decided to play more direct. They abandoned, a lot of their passing patterns and a lot of their spacing of the field, and they decided to go straight up the field to Kamara to try and break our pressure. I'm not sure what they'll try to do now. They've talked about really trying to stick to the way they play. We'll see if they do that here. We'll be prepared for if they play their style or if they decide to play more direct. So it'll be a good challenge for us, that's for sure.
Have you figured out the logistics of your suspension and where you're going to be? And
no, I mean, I assume that I'm still suspended. I know that there's been some dialogue with trying to see if it's going to hold up, but I assume to be suspended, and then I become a fan.
Where do you sit? Where do you go?
I sit up in the rafters, kind of up by our video guy, so it gives me a good look. And the only problem is I can't yell to the players; I'm too far away.
What are you allowed to do? Anything? What is
no, you can't be in the locker room like an hour and a half before the game. So there's really not much interaction that I'm allowed with on game day. And actually, I think that's okay because I think that I'm continuing to try to push this team to take over on the inside. And last time I was out, they did really well, so that could be a good sign. If they do really well again, I may never be on the bench again. So I may be looking for a job.
After the game, are you allowed to do whatever?
Yeah. Then after the game,
is over.
yeah. Once the game's complete.
Well, when you look at Columbus and kind of what they've done, you had a year to kind of study them and see how Greg built anything. Was there anything you kind of took away that you could implement here with somewhat of their style, the physical play, the back line? They do some pressing as well.
Yeah, I would say they're actually a lot different than we are. Like I think, have modeled themselves a little bit on spacing the field, almost like Barcelona does, and now trying to create a lot of passing options and passing patterns. And we're sort of like the anti-Barcelona, where we actually we want to compress the field, we want to close down options, we want to play as direct as possible. So I think it's it makes for a really good game in my mind, and I think it's a clash of styles a bit. So, but the only variable in there is, again, when we played in the second game there, they abandoned the way they play. So that's why we kind of have to prepare a little bit for both, and we're a little bit unsure. My guess is that coming here that they'll play a little bit more direct like they did in the second game.
Are you finding teams are beginning to make adjustments now that you're facing them second time around to the press style? And
yes,
what
I
are they
do.
What are you seeing?
Well, I think playing more direct is one way. I think trying to catch us on the counter and now have guys running on the counter is another way. But those are all things we've known, and those are things that we've built into what we do. It's just a matter of can we get on top of the game in the score line with how we play. Like I feel like we're usually on top of the game with the way that we play and the style that we play, and we're usually playing in their end and possessing the ball and being very aggressive. And now it's just also being aware of the fact that we need that play to add up to goals, and we need to mitigate now anytime we lose the ball and anytime that they're looking to be a little bit more directed on the counter.
When you look at Dax and the impact that he's had this year, I know maybe not statistically as much as Bradley and Lloyd and some of the other guys, but is he very much an MVP type of this team?
I love when I see that players who aren't goal scorers are being considered for MVP because, there's often the guys that play a big role in the middle of the field that dictate how successful a team is. In that case, for us, Dax has been very vital. I think one of our best players, if not our best player, and our team, I think, is in a lot of ways revolves around him and the way he plays on the day and his mentality. And so in all ways, I think he's not just our captain, but he is our leader in terms of now what our mentality is like on the day. And I think he's been fantastic. He has been, I think, he's made so many plays that actually don't show up as assists, but there may be third assist, second assist, or they're the play that leads to the play that gets us a goal. And then, the amount of fires he puts out, he leads the league in interceptions and recoveries and those kinds of categories. And so he's vital to the way we play.
Two more.
Any update on Luke Woodland? You said last week.
Yeah, we're not bringing him back. So that's that update.
Coach, we've talked a lot about, plenty of times about the style of play that you
Yeah.
guys have, and with the high press. And one of the things that is susceptible to is the counterattack. We've seen it. We saw it again against Orlando. I know you're steadfast in not wanting to change your style of play. Is there anything to do to just to counteract those breakaways? It seems like when they get down the flanks, you saw a lot of those whip balls behind the defense that really seem to hurt you. Is there anything you can do to be more compact to stop those counters?
Yeah, no, we think we can rotate better. We think we can drop better at times. Identifying when the counter's coming, identifying where players are so that they don't find open space and time. All things that we've talked about from the beginning. On the days when we've been successful, it leads to the other team never really being able to find the game. And at home, for the most part, that has been the way it's gone. On the road, less so. But it doesn't, for me, question any of the system or the style. It's more just now being better at what we do than what the other team's trying to do. And most days we are. It's just little reminders and now identifying even like certain personnel and what they're good at and what they're attempting. So, and Christian brings up the comment about when we've played teams the second time, they're a little bit more prepared for the kind of game they're going to get. I think that is multi-faceted. I think it's not just the tactics of how we play, but it's the speed at we play, the competitiveness at which we play. And now when players see that, they know what they're in for a little bit more, and they're more, I think, revved up to play in a game like that. And so, because we've done well, I think teams have treated us with respect, and it's meant that at certain days it's not as easy. But that's good. That's a good thing.